Hello, hello, guys. So I was asked actually, what kind of healers does someone want to try a run? So, first of all, there aren't really that many healers, pretty much one per element except for light because for some reason we needed two of them. I'm not complaining though, it just, I feel one is kind of weird. I'll explain so later on. So, the person was asking this more on a rainbow perspective. So, first of all, I'm going to say which healers I honestly would not advise in rainbow, and I would more point towards mono, and then I'm going to talk about the ones in rainbow. So we're going to go down the list. So the first one is Avnor. I'm sorry to say this, but he used to be good. There's been so many changes. He's never been buffed or updated. He's pretty much the worst healer in the game currently. I mean, honestly, you could buff him. He could become good again, but outside of Mono Dart, I would just not advise running him. The second healer who I don't advise running outside of Mono is going to be Freya. She's not as bad, so you can run her in duels, but she is kind of conditional, and she works pretty damn well in the Mono Thunder mid. Also can be used in backline, not a big deal, pretty nice kit. Just doesn't tend to work so well in Rainbow. Then the last one is Jiho, not Jiho, Miho, the one who still doesn't have an E. I know you guys are gonna hate us for that. I mean BB for that. I mean I'm not Wormwind, I don't care, but I gotta say, come on guys, they've been waiting forever. Just give her the EE. Like make it a nerf like you did on Milky Way, but just give it at this point. Just take them out of their misery. So also outside of Wormwind, I don't advise because just doesn't even have any EE, so her stats are kind of crap compared to everyone else who does. Because whenever you get an EE, you get a stat buff, so it's just bad, sad. Yep, and that's why Alios exists. Now, the two elements that you're going to be using in Rainbow for healers are going to be Ardor and Light. So Ardor, we have the staple healer, like people like to call him, Galf. So why is Golf good? Golf is good for two reasons. First reason is you can actually run him in mid line. He has reflex, he has super play, he has DR, he has an active heal. He can actually work pretty well there. So some people have actually experimented with that. It works pretty well. For people who want to run a four-man survival back, I do advise running him in midline for the active or running another healer backline, and having a midline can be pretty good. Also, backline with the shoe combo can be extremely powerful, so it's kind of up to you, but I gotta say in Rainbow, he is going to pull his weight. The only thing with him is he doesn't generate spirit that well, so it's good to have other players who can. Randomly, I would think, for example, a Cheetos, some passers, if you have something like an Elu on the team, stuff like that can be cool. Again, I'm kind of mostly light dark, so I'm going to reference those players first. And now easily, the light players. So yeah, that I'm not going to have an issue with. Virgil, it feels so weird, man. I've skinned him for so long. Virgil being one of the most hated healers of all times, also nicknamed the Salt Master, for a simple reason. If he penetrates two lines, he can use his active. It doesn't matter that he's at 0 spirit when this began. That is the power of Virgil. He has the shittiest line buff of all time. It's decreased max life of the front line. No one's ever cared about that buff. Stonewise is actually pretty good. The real cool part just is that whenever he penetrates, it's going to heal the line like a decent healer. Plus, it's going to generate spirit, but around 1 bar per penetration. Penetrate 2 times, get to front line, use your active, and you basically heal 2 lines for 15%, and then you're healing another 60% on top of that. I mean, that's just insane. And I'm not even talking about the action bar he can generate. And if for any reason he doesn't have his active, he just filled up over 2/3 of your spirit bar, and now you can just throw on actives and not even care. So honestly, he is one of the best spirit generators in game. So just for that reason, I would advise him in teams where you feel you just can't generate the spirit. If not, Golf having super play heals a little bit more, but just doesn't generate the spirit. Virgil might kind of hit harder, depends how you build him. I'm more a Virgil fan, but I got a monolight back, so you can't really take my word for that part. Now, Black Ivy. I gotta say, she's honestly very conditional. Her kit is interesting, but again, every skill requires a specific thing to happen. The active is the most basic thing. She does give a really nice team buff, but since it's a stackable buff, it will require you to move 3 times, and if anyone dies, they lose the buff. If an Alios moves on the opposing team, you lose the buff. It's kind of limited in that sense. She will decrease the enemy speed and increase the damage they receive, but sadly for only 15 minutes. If they remove the timer, I would just be advising her right away. And then she's got a really good DR when stealing, but again, only when stealing. She's a backliner. It kind of breaks the point. I mean, if you can make her fast enough, it works. But if you don't, she's gonna suicide penetrating. So it's kind of again one of those issues where the kit sounds good, and it really depends how you're able to really build around it. But it can honestly be pretty powerful. So in order of swag, I would say Golf when you have no when you have Spirit Gen, Virgil when you don't have Spirit Gen, and Ivy if you like buffs. It's pretty much it, and your back is super fast. So that's kind of the idea I would go under. Again, I don't advise the other ones. Miho, let's wait for the EE before we can truly judge her. But currently, until she does, she is not worth putting in the same league as the other ones. So I hope this helps you guys understand the basics of what active healer you should run. And again, if you have any question, comment, just write it down in the description. This was just to answer a request. Have a good day, guys.